Hey, this is Zach from Double Your Freelancing. Today we have a quick tip for you that'll help you raise your rates with your clients. So, the thing to think about today is how your work actually impacts your clients' businesses. As skilled practitioners, it can be easy to zoom in on our own technical skills or the process that we follow to do the work that we do. And sometimes we can lose the forest through the trees of why that work matters and how it's impacting the client. So that's the focus for today. There's a quick worksheet that I'm going to be filling out and you can follow along with. And the goal here is to think about why it is that somebody actually wants to hire you. So, for example, if you are a web designer, people aren't hiring you because they want a website. They're hiring you because they want what they believe that website will do for them. Ideally, when we're going through this worksheet, we're going to boil down the potential needs of our clients until we can get to really root ones that will ideally have something to do with things like earning more money or losing less money. If we can find one of those fundamental motivations, it's really easy to sell our services as long as we can sort of stack the service that we would offer against the extra money that service would earn them or save them. That's kind of the goal. So let's dive into the worksheet. I call it the Client Fundamental Needs Worksheet, and it goes really well with our Socratic Questioning Worksheet, which is a part of our Double Your Freelancing Rate course. And the idea behind this Client Fundamental Needs Worksheet is that you could use it between someone initially reaching out to you and you getting on a call with them. It helps you to sort of dissect where they're at in your own time without feeling like you have to do all this stuff live. So I've got a sample email pulled up here. Let me get it on the screen. So this is an email I got from a prospective client a little bit ago who I ended up working with. There's a lot here, but I've called out with these exclamation points the main ones that we want to look at as we do the worksheet. So download the worksheet if you haven't yet, and then follow along with me here. So in this email, he's telling me what he's looking for, and this is a financial advisor. And all of these exclamation points are going to be really useful in a minute as we fill out the worksheet. These exclamation points are me kind of highlighting little parts that suggest beliefs or needs that he has that these speak to. This one I highlighted just because it's funny. This client of mine, he's doesn't think of himself as a really marketery person, but he sort of naturally does all these good internet marketery things. And I just think it's so funny that he has only 56% of visitors sign up, which is just an amazing conversion rate. And he thinks of it as not particularly good. So let's dive into the worksheet and then we're going to circle back to this. So I've got it here on my iPad. So what did this prospective client come to me asking for specifically? Well, obviously a lot of things, but I could probably boil it down to new website with refreshed design. He asked for a lot of like specific features, but all of them pretty much circle back to something fresh. Stated reasons. This is where those exclamation points are important. So firms that never update their websites look stale. This is a really good one that we'll come back to in a second. So I'll just write not stale. I see on the second exclamation point, it's like more approachable. One of the things for him is he doesn't want to look like a stodgy financial advisor from 40 years ago kind of thing. And then his other one, sign up page, is pretty sterile. So I'm going to write that one down. So just the things that they said directly. Let's go on to the next page. What clues do these things give you? So this is where we start to actually look at what these things mean. So the vibe that I'm getting is that his concern is that if he doesn't update his website, that he's going to seem irrelevant or that he's going to miss out on sales, something along those lines. We don't really know exactly the fundamental need, but the main one is that he thinks it's important to stay up to date and to keep working on the thing. In this case, we want to try to boil it down to the fundamental needs. And so I think I would feel pretty confident saying that if somebody wants to avoid looking stale, if you peel that layer back one more. Why do you want to not look stale? Well, because I believe that if I do look stale, I will lose out on business. I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make, is that someone who doesn't want to look stale believes that looking stale will cost them new clients. So I'll just write that. What other things? So approachable and sterile, those are both kind of speaking to another one. In this case, I think what I'm hearing here is that if he wants to be relatable to his clients, it's important to seem like a person that they can relate to versus some, stodgy financial advisors. So I'm going to write relatable equals new clients, not equals not. So in this case, we want to make theories about what the fundamental needs are. So, like the deepest layer as we continue to peel. And as I mentioned before, the goal here is that we want to find if the fundamental need is getting more sales, losing less money, or other things that are able to be tied back to that. So, for example, because this is a pretty clear cut one, a more difficult one could be like they want to come across as more professionals so that they can attract potential partners. Well, those potential partners bring new opportunities for more business. So you might be able to keep peeling back, and then you find that that one comes to the earning more money sort of angle. So in this case, most of the things that I'm hearing here are kind of, in my opinion, boiling back to either gaining more business and more conversions and losing out on people who don't resonate with him. So I'll just write those down. And in both of these, I feel pretty pretty dang confident, really. So I'd maybe give him like, I don't know, 8 out of 10. So in terms of questions I would ask to more concretely find out fundamental needs, I don't know that there actually are any in this case. I think it's pretty clear cut that he wants to resonate more with the people who are his core demographic. So the thing that I would need to know, and what I ended up doing on my discovery call with him, is just finding out more about who his ideal audience member is, who his ideal customer is, finding out what they care about, and thinking of ways that we can connect more with those people. Um, so in this case, I don't know that I would necessarily have much to say for number 5, but I'd probably write something like, find out more about the audience or about the ideal customer. So given that we know he's trying to up his conversions and up how much he resonates with people, something that came to mind for me, which I pitched to him and I'm going to be doing for him, is that right now his website just has a bunch of kind of generic opt-in items, but he doesn't have really any funnel or any segmentation or any engagement or personalization of his emails. It's just you download the thing, you get the main email blasts. Very simple. And so something that occurred to me was that we could really dial in the personalization, because in talking to him, he has different audience segments. And something that Brennan's really good at, that I've learned from him, is that if you know that someone on your list is interested in some specific thing, why not change their messaging to speak to their specific needs and goals? And so in this client's case, he has like 3 different segments. So something that would really serve his needs would be to have a funnel and to have some segmentation and personalization of the email content to flow people into booking calls. So I'll write that down. And then lastly, this one's kind of icing on the cake, and it won't work for every type of freelancer in every industry, but ideally we could find a way to connect this idea we have for how we could serve them better to actual metrics. As a web designer, email marketer type of person, it's very easy for me to do this, because if I want to see how something performs, all I need to do is track clicks or track email form submissions or track traffic, depending on what the metrics are. But if you're doing something where, I don't know, you're designing a new banner for a trade show and it's like a very offline kind of thing, it's obviously going to be harder to get concrete numbers. But in any way that you can, if you can find a way to quantify things, even when they are soft metrics, like how do you quantify something that feels nice, you know? But if you can find a way to quantify it in some way, the big advantage of it is that you're able to show my work resulted in this. So if you do something that is an online kind of thing, I encourage you to aim to track however you can. So in this client's case, a personalized email funnel, the way that I would demonstrate in a quantitative way how this thing that I built for them served their goals is I would establish baseline conversion rates probably through the entire funnel. I would look for how many people currently come to the site and join the email list, and then how many people that join the email list book a call with him. I think those would be some good metrics to start with. I could also track how many of the people who book calls convert, but that one, if I build this funnel for him, that's not going to really change that much. And so if I can find out what his baselines are, and then I build this thing and implement it, then I can compare the metrics in the end to that. And then we get to see, oh, this thing that you paid me XYZ amount of money for resulted in this much money for you. And in a client's case like this one, where for my client, a client of his is worth like 18 grand. If this thing that I build him earns him 5 more clients, for example, then that means that this thing I built just generated $100,000 worth of value for him. So it's very easy to charge a premium for this kind of stuff when you can illustrate the ROI that you're giving. So that's the worksheet. Fill it out. And hopefully, if you get in the habit of doing this regularly, you'll find that by focusing in on the core needs of your clients instead of just the things that you do, you'll be able to compare your work with the results provided, which is one of the best ways to raise your rates because it makes any rate a no brainer as long as it's less than the value you're delivering. Hope you enjoyed. See you around.